Hello everyone, my name is Orca and in today's video I will talk about the blue balls build. Uh, Basically it's a build that requires EM weaponry, in most cases singularity cannon. It's mostly tied to gunships, so I will talk about gunships and the blue balls build. So the thing is, it's a build that's mostly for close combat kind of deal. So in most cases, many people would go for Federation gunship. Some of them would go actually for Empire gunship for the buffs and everything, but in this case, it's about the maneuverability rather than the damage output, because you'll be fighting really close to your enemies. You will be maneuvering your ship so you avoid getting hit rather than tanking a hit. So this is my general blue balls build. Also, it was called blue balls because the projectile of the singularity cannon was blue. Now it's red, so it's so called redballings, so to say. So the build is pretty straightforward. Anyone can do it. If you're moving on from, let's say, interceptors, it's going to be one of the best builds you're gonna play in the game. So basically, it's all about having slow or semi-fast projectile dealing EM area of effect kind of a damage, tied with engine modifiers for more rotation speed, speed in general, or just strafe speed. So whatever actually goes well with your playstyle, you can change it however you want to. Uh, I'm basically a hit and run kind of a blue balling player, red balling, however you want to call it. So in most cases I just go for the verniers and the cruise engines. Most people won't go with the cruise engines because the maneuverability debuff, and the thing is, you just go with the singularity cannon, have a, let's say, emergency barrier and any other damage amplifying module depending on what ship you chose for the build. um, The shield is pretty much straightforward. The hull is straightforward. There's absolutely nothing important there to say about this build. Anything you want to play, anything you are comfortable with, would go well in those shield slots, hull slots, whatever. So I'm just gonna skip them ahead. For the CPU, it's best to use either critical modules for critical chance, critical damage, uh, or if you want to have a third CPU slot, that one would probably be for, let's say, the proton wall, just for the sake of reducing the controlling effects, because you'll be really close, fighting really close to your enemies that will have those interceptors debuffing you all the time, and other ships, so you will need probably the photon wall. So the proton wall can be useful, but so can the combat reboot be as well. So uh, a good timing on the combat reboot would be necessary to skip the proton wall in general. So if you're really good with your timing and combat reboot, you can go without the proton wall. So it's uh, it's all about the skill on how to pilot the gunship in general. I use Doomsdays on my blue balls build because it's a hit and run kind of idea, what I have here, and just one hit instead of multiple hits from Firestorm, let's say, or if I'm fighting fast targets. In most cases, blue balls build is just for other fighters, frigates, and, let's say, destroyers. Mostly destroyers because they pass through shields and damage the hull of the ship, so you will destroy the modules of the destroyer and thus deal damage to the hull as well. So it acts like a plasma arc in a rather difficult way for the fighter class ships. So I use Doomsday. It's a one missile tracking missile. You should probably go into the cruise and select the evasive kind of implant on the missiles. Let me see. Okay, this is the one. So basically, from the cruise settings on, I would suggest maneuverability for the missiles. If you're going for a critical build, it's, well, better suited because you'll be dogfighting most of the time. You will be close range, so critical build is better off. You're better off with a critical build, to be honest. It's straightforward. Uh, and for the rest of the implants, well, I would go with, as you can see here, uh, the very basic kind of implants that pretty much every ship class has. Nothing special here, other than the missile in case of Doomsdays. So it's a critical build mixed with a little bit of maneuverability, and the rest of the build relies on your general skill of your passive and active modules and so on. So all in all, when you combine all those elements, you will get a nice blue balls build. If you want to call it red balls, it's fine by me. So this is pretty much it. There's many variations of the blue balls build. You can build it for, let's say, really close quarter battles for maximum damage output, or semi-close, so you don't miss and stuff like that. And pretty much everything else is optional. It's an optional build in general because the only thing that's important here is having a main gun that's dealing EM damage that passes through shields and can damage, let's say, destroyers, even though if they have a static barrier up and running. So that's the general idea of the blue balls build, to be a threat to that kind of ships that usually are difficult to take down. So it's a burst kind of damage. It's dogfighting close quarters kind of a weapon that just can't miss. In most cases, it just can't miss because with the overdrive and everything on, you have the upper hand in maneuverability, damage output, fire rate, everything. So it's a nice build for whatever purpose. The main build line here is having the main weapon, and the rest is all about maneuverability, maybe even a bit tanky kind of a build, but the most important point of the build is just damage output, close quarter battles, and EM projectile that has a wide area of effect, so you don't miss, you don't shoot blank, so to say, and you get a nice score in the end. So in the upcoming videos, I will try to cover my variation, my kind of blue balls build. So subscribe and wait for the next video. So this is it for this build. See ya.